It belongs to you.
Good morning, Shabbat Shalom, dear listeners. This is the Hour of Restoration, coming to you live from Amsterdam every Sabbath morning from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. We hope you had a good week. Of course, you can follow us on our Facebook page, The Hour of Restoration, and also on our YouTube channel, The Hour of Restoration, or via High Radio. And of course, don't forget to like and subscribe on our YouTube channel or follow us on Instagram for our weekly updates. And we are going to discuss a brand new theme this month. Last week, we concluded with the calling of the prophets. And this week, we will start with the theme of dressing. And today, we'll be discussing women. And next to that, it's also our 6 years anniversary. So we're also going to highlight that. So stay tuned. As usual, we will start this topic with our table talk. I have two of my sisters seated here before me. And afterwards, we will also look at what the preacher man has in store. And we also have a small surprise because it is our 6-year anniversary. God, you make my life so beautiful. And of course, don't forget, next week, Saturday, we have our Instagram live show. So also tune in for that. It starts 7 p.m. So join us in the comment section. We will start in a few short minutes, but enjoy this song by Obapa Christie called The Glory. Welcome once again. If you're tuning in right now, this is the Hour of Restoration. And as I already said, we're going to start with a brand new theme called dressing. And today we also have the topic of women. But before we do that, we're going to have a short recap about last week's topic, which was the prophet Isaiah. So I have two of my own sisters seated before me. I have Sister Stephanie. How are you doing?
I am fine, thank you.
And I have Sister Helena. How are you doing?
I'm fine.
You're also doing fine. How has your week been, Helena?
Yeah, my week has been, good. I rested a lot. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Rest is important, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Do you take time to properly rest when you're busy?
No.
No?
No.
Why not? Why not?
Yeah, I don't know, but rest is something. It's not something that I think about, but I need to do that. But
Mm-hmm.
it's like I'm just going, going, going.
Why
Yeah.
do you need it actually?
What do you mean?
Yeah, why do you need it? Why do you need to rest? Like, why do you say that?
You need to rest because rest is like, yeah, it's for you to charge like
Mm-hmm.
yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we also have like life batteries, if you can say like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, so it's also important to yeah, to recharge yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. The body needs time to process everything, your
Yeah.
food, your movement. So it's really important to have that good night's sleep. And Sister Stephanie, how's your week been?
My week was okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Busy,
the
busy, or
usuals. The usuals.
yes, the usuals. How is work?
I didn't do a lot at work. To be
Mhm.
honest, I skipped a few things.
Mhm.
Oh, more?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. But it's still intact. So next week, if the Most High permits, I will fully get back at it again.
Okay,
Mhm.
that's good. And what type of work do you do?
I am a family coach,
Oh,
so
good.
I work with families, mostly interact with the parents
Mm-hmm.
and also the children as well who have difficulties in different areas. It
Yeah.
can be the behavior at school, the social life, sometimes the psychological state is not intact. So
Mhm.
then I'm there to guide them in the process.
Yeah, beautiful work. I think
Mhm.
you will help a lot of people with that.
Mhm.
And it's also something you can really apply the principles of Elohim in.
Yeah.
So good to hear, girls, that you are doing fine. Yeah, last week we concluded with the calling of the prophets.
Mhm.
We have discussed a lot of
Yeah.
prophets, and I also hope that you listeners have learned something from each and every individual prophet and their story and their message. So before we even dive into Isaiah, Helena, when you
Mhm.
look at all the prophets, what is something that you took with you from the messages that was shared?
Mm, what I took out of it is that being a prophet is not yeah, let me say, being a true prophet of Elohim isn't an easy task at all, because you have a big responsibility, because as a prophet you like how do you say it, you speak je praat namens Elohim,
Mm-hmm.
and so that's not something you can take lightly, because as a prophet you really put your own desire, your own things um, away, and set Elohim's work before that. So it's
Yeah.
not an easy task at all.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
so
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So is that also something that motivates you personally when it comes to maybe performing the tasks of Elohim, or when Elohim tells you to do something?
Gisteren.
Yeah.
Yeah, because mostly like yeah, we were speaking yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
It's like sometimes we know that we need to change something, and that Elohim also shows onto us, maybe via dreams, or
Mm-hmm.
maybe by talking to someone, but yet we can easily still put our own like desire, because it's like, oh, we don't see the consequences yet,
Yeah.
so yeah, let me see what can happen. But
Mm-hmm.
then you can like push it to like the edge, like of you not listening to what
Exactly.
Elohim tells you to change and to do.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, yeah, if you can say it like that, this was something that I need to be aware of it, that
Yeah.
it's not something that we can take like lightly when Elohim speak to us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because he revealing something unto us is it's something that we cannot take for granted, because he doesn't speak to everyone.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Wow. Nice
Yeah.
lesson. And Sister Stephanie, what have you taken along from all the messages
Mm,
of the past couple of weeks?
well, I really clearly see a big difference between the prophets we find in the Bible and the prophets we see in our time
Mm-hmm.
in the assemblies. There's a very, very big difference in behavior, in their message, in their focus,
Yeah.
and also the way they carry out their assignment.
Mm-hmm.
And what I have picked from the message, like over the past 3 to 4 weeks,
Mm-hmm.
is that the importance of obedience. So slightly a bit the same of
Mm-hmm.
what Helena was saying, the obedience, and also um, the load that comes with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Um, like for instance, Isaiah, he walked around naked, without
Mm-hmm.
dress, barefoot. Is it something that we could do if Elohim would tell us to walk naked outside
Mm.
for
Mm,
3 years?
Would you do it?
So yeah, and also the other thing that made me understand is that I don't know why, but I always had a very strange feeling towards prophets, because for
Mhm.
me they were strange.
Yeah.
I did not believe them literally what they were saying, especially in the assemblies. They will prophesy or say things, and I will look at them and like think like, why are you saying this?
Yeah.
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 And the thing that you are saying, is it coming to pass, yes or no? Because it should come out, and if it
Mhm.
doesn't come out, that means that you're false.
Yeah.
So yeah, unfortunately those things doesn't line up with what we read in the word, so it's sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The state of prophets nowadays, in comparison,
It's always
to,
good, actually.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Prosperity.
No
preachers.
warnings.
Yeah,
No
yeah.
warnings. Nothing that you should worry about.
Mhm.
Nothing that motivates you to change something or to take something away, because
Yeah.
if you don't, then some ugly things or consequences will follow after that.
Mhm. And it's always a witch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone in Ghana sitting on your womb, whatever. Like, we have heard the craziest things indeed. And
Yeah.
Helena, she already spoke, for example, about when you
Mhm.
compare the prophets of old to
Yeah.
now. What are some of the key differences that you see next to maybe the prosperity type of messages that they deliver?
The difference also what I see is that they also asking for to sow a seed.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you read the scriptures, I was like, okay, where does this like come from? Because
Mhm.
if you read the scriptures, you don't see that the prophets were asking for money or
Yeah.
things, But nowadays, you really see that they ask for money, like give me 1,000 euros,
Mm-hmm.
and then I will give you more revelations.
Yeah.
Give me this, and then you will be healed. Give me this. So it's like they are how do you say it? They are earning money by telling people prophecies.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
where does
That's
that
become a
come
business.
from?
business.
Business.
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah.
yeah. What was your question?
Yeah.
Okay,
You
okay,
mentioned one of
okay,
the
okay.
differences.
Oh
No
yeah,
problem.
yeah, earning money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that one of the things, because we have discussed the prophets many times,
Yeah.
one of the questions that's always important to ask, and also for the listeners and the viewers to think about, is what makes a true prophet? Because it's not that easy. I mean, you, for example, said if someone says something and it doesn't come to pass, does that immediately disqualify the person as being a prophet? What are some differences? What are some things that you have to look for in a true prophet, Sister Stephanie?
I already mentioned one.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing that I can say is the lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
So this prophet, being a messenger of the Most High, should be an example.
Yeah.
So what he instructed people to do, is he also like practicing the same thing, yes or no? And like the emphasis of he being the voice.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have a prophet, for instance, that's how I understand it, is
Mhm.
that you miss direction.
Yeah.
And you cannot like discern if you are doing the right thing or not.
Mm-hmm.
So it is actually necessary to have one around you or in an assembly, so that the people can always get the right messages
Mm-hmm.
in seasons, like for the whole congregation, but also maybe individually, so
Yeah.
that everyone can grow in their own lanes.
Yeah.
So basically, like the things that they carry out, how they speak, what they eat, how they dress, the example that they are,
Mm-hmm.
is it in line with the word, yes or no? So that is like one of the
Yeah.
key things, the fruits.
Yes,
The fruits
true.
that
By their
shows.
fruits,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
will know them. And indeed, you use the Bible or the scriptures
Mm-hmm.
as a mirror. Actually, does it reflect the will of Elohim? Does it reflect how
Yeah.
how he uses prophets? And is that what we see nowadays? Because as you said, it seems like a business. Last week we also said everyone wants to be a prophet
Yeah.
or prophetess. A lot of prophetess women are
Are also
now
rising.
around. Yeah, I have to be honest. I think I see more women than men now trying to exercise, but maybe that is my own
It's
personal.
everything now.
Yes.
Apostles.
Yeah, it's mixed,
Yeah.
but yeah, the women are coming. Yeah.
Yeah,
rising.
And they're rising in every form. Yeah,
in
apostles.
every form.
Pastors.
Yeah, that's
yeah,
true.
it's true. It's
And
true.
when you look at Isaiah, for example, he also speaks about especially leaders straying the people away,
Yeah.
having forsaken the ways of Elohim, and he actually lays quite some responsibility at the leaders. And my question to you is, how much of the responsibility is with the leaders, and how much of the responsibility is really with its followers? For example, because we are also urging people to study, to do research, and you shouldn't always take everything from your leader. So where does the responsibility lie when it comes to handling the words of Elohim?
That's a good
Helena?
question. Yeah, I think as a leader, I think a leader will give you like the importance of messages or like the basic things. And I think like when you what you said, when you receive something, that you also take your own time to study it. Because you can say like, yeah, okay, my pastor told me, my pastor said this. Then your reference is your pastor, but what do you know? What have you done to know more about a certain topic? So I think, yeah, indeed the leaders have a big part, but I think you cannot also as a receiver just lay back and
Yeah.
just put. So yeah,
You have to put in some effort
Work,
for
yeah,
yourself.
for
Yeah.
yourself,
But you also
yeah.
have people that don't necessarily follow their leader and say, I have a personal relationship
oh yeah,
with God. In their words,
Yeah,
they would
yeah,
say,
yeah,
I have
okay,
a
that's
personal
all.
relationship with God. So how would you then,
yeah.
how would you then handle that, Sister Stephanie?
The personal part, like they
Yeah,
see
they
things,
say
receive
they have
things.
received things themselves. They hear things.
Well, if it is really from Elohim, then the person can follow that direction or that revelation the person receives. So I cannot necessarily say that it's a wrong thing or it is bad, that based on the revelation or the relationship you have with Elohim,
Yeah.
everything that comes out of it is wrong. But you have to do the check
Yeah.
consistently. So the bigger part is the messenger, you as individual as well,
Yeah.
and then you can see whether the things that you have received from the messenger, does Elohim also confirm it for you in different ways, because there's also different ways to reveal or to confirm things,
Yeah.
not only through the messengers, but maybe dreams or visions or studying, or different channels
Yeah.
are available.
True. And that's a good thing that you're saying, because sometimes we also overcomplicate when it comes to the faith, and then we expect a certain sign, and then we are
Yeah.
waiting for a dream
Yeah.
or a vision. But could you maybe elaborate more on the other ways that also people can have confirmation, and maybe do you have an example of yourself?
Yeah. My example would be, okay, let's say I have studied a topic and I was just on the receiving end. I make notes and also write down the key or the highlight things in my notebook. And then later on, I pray.
Yeah.
I pray what I have received. And sometimes the questions that I have, I also put it in prayer. Sometimes, like in the same week, or maybe it takes some time, I will have like a connecting topic that follows, that I can pick up and study like further or even more in depth. Or the question that I had, I will receive it through a conversation I have with one of the sisters.
Yeah.
Like, okay, thank you, Elohim.
Yeah.
So it goes different ways.
Yeah. True. It reminds me also, I was indeed, same thing. I was studying a certain topic, and I asked for confirmation, like, can you show me that it's true or real? And I remember just being in a simple conversation with my mother, and then I said something, and I gave my own answer. Actually, I was like, oh, and you just, I don't want to say feel it, but it's just a knowing, right? That's like, yeah, you just know this is this was the answer. It was as if a bell was ringing in my head, like
it feels so good.
Yeah,
it really feels good.
Yeah. We were also talking about it yesterday. Like, it gives a good, it just feels good when you read something, you study something, and you get the confirmation thereof. Then you can also have that inner conviction.
And sometimes also funny, because sometimes I forgot that I ask Elohim the question, and then I'm surprised that, oh, this is the answer right in front of me.
Yeah.
So
it works in mysterious, mysterious ways. And when looking at the prophet Isaiah, one of the things that we often see in his book is the speaking of truth. Once again, the rebuking of people. He also is quite, I wouldn't say strict, but he also reprimands especially the leaders that they have failed actually, and have fallen short of what they should do for Elohim. And one thing that you really see, and also nowadays, is that we believers, and especially Black believers, we do not love hearing the truth. And why is that, Helena? Don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
Won't you listen?
Comfort, man. The comfort.
Comfort,
Comfort of Europa. The truth hurts, It's with everything. I think, why it's people just want to hear good stuff, positive things. But even if I think about we receiving the truth, it's not even like a burden or something, but people take it so like because it all has to do also with the deception, the falsehood of Christianity. Just so like if you discover like the truth, it becomes like something very hard, because you're living the opposite like life. So it's not necessarily that it's per se hard, but because you have lived like in a fantasy world, like everything's going to be okay if I just believe, if I just go to the church, if I just have Elohim in my heart, everything is going to be okay. I don't need to labor, I don't need to do that. And then you heard this, like the truth, it becomes a heavy thing. So I think maybe that's why it can be hard sometimes.
I think that for most believers it's also shock. You have like you just have an influx of new information. You have to change things, you have to let people go, you have to do all these type of things, and it's not easy. So indeed what you said, it's also the comfort, but also something what the minister touched upon last week was, we often seek the truth, but already with an idea of how what it should be, or what the answer should be. And if you approach the word, if you approach the scriptures in that way, you are going to find what you want to find, and you're not going to see what the scripture actually means. It also happens with using verses completely out of context, and then they use it maybe in a motivating way, positive, yes, but if you read the entire chapter, it doesn't speak about that, you know. So you're really going to find what you are looking for yourself. And that being said, when you look at the prophet Isaiah, and actually all the prophets that we discussed, there's so many ways in that they are called. There's so many ways their message is delivered, and we also spoke about how their life plays out literally what Elohim thinks or experiences with the people of Israel. But one thing that you also see is, of course, them, how sounding the shofar, warning people, trying to make them repent. Is this the primary function of a prophet, Sister Stephanie?
Yeah. One of them.
One of them. And what are the others?
Sorry.
I've mentioned a few already.
Oh, I was she was caught off guard. Sorry,
Thanks,
guys.
Clara.
Sorry, no. It's not.
I should have said
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. No, maybe people missed
Oh
it.
my
So,
goodness.
what are some of the functions? And you already said primary function is really to warn. And what are some of the other functions? Because people often think that prophecy or the gift manifests itself in maybe one way, but can be so many different ways.
Sorry, I was not listening.
No problem.
Can you repeat it
Repeat
again?
the question.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people think that, when you are a prophet or you have the gift of prophecy, it manifests itself in one certain way. And I'm wondering, are there other ways? Are there other functions? So maybe you could highlight that.
Functions. Yeah. Wow. What I have seen and also learned is that there's a specific reason why Elohim appoints a prophet. One of them is to speak to the congregation or the group that the person is assigned to or linked to. And it can be a warning. So if those people cannot receive or have a connection directly with Elohim, but the prophet has, then the person can speak on behalf of Elohim to warn the people, so that they also have their time and platform to change or to prepare themselves. So it is actually a nice thing, I think, that they have time and the ability to change their ways. If they have been doing this for maybe years and the message comes to warn them, to stimulate them to live righteous, then they can, through teachings, counselings, and whatever, they can slightly or gradually repent. So I tackle different things. It's for warning, but also to stimulate the people and help people to repent, to live righteous, to have also a personal connection with Elohim. So these are one of the things that I can share.
I think indeed, as you said, the main focus really should be repenting and living righteous, and not the things that we see nowadays. It only leads to wealth or an improvement in your life on this earth, for example, and then forgetting your spiritual life. And the reason why I also asked it was because I said there are many ways in which it manifests, and a lot of times you have people that then maybe receive a dream, and then I don't know when they make up their mind, yes, this is Elohim has called me to fulfill that office, and then they just go out. And one of the things that the minister said was there is a difference between being called, and there's also a difference between being sent. So what does this mean, Sister Helena?
It's a hard one.
You can think about it.
Being called
And being sent.
and being sent. I think when it comes to being called, it's very broad, because also in the word say that many are called but a few are chosen. I think that we can use that like that context. Is that a lot of people will hear the truth, a lot of people will hear about Elohim, so that can be like a lot of people can feel like, okay, I'm called, but I think the people that will really will seek Elohim and will really seek like the truth, that will not be a lot of people. And I think the one that will do that with their whole heart, Elohim will then look on those people, and then will choose like certain prophets, and they will like be sent out for the people to to talk about the gospel, to make people repent. So I think so is how I understand that a lot of people are being called, a lot of people will hear the truth, but not a lot of people will hearken onto it.
Exactly. And indeed, what you said, the fact also that you are maybe called, maybe you have a certain gifting or office or ministry that you have to attend to, doesn't mean immediately that you have to go out to the people, start preaching, start doing all those kind of stuff. There's a moment that Elohim chooses, and there are also certain people that Elohim chooses. So that was a very good answer. And now going on to our next part of the table talk, of course, Today is
6 years.
6 years anniversary. HOR. Whoop whoop. Yay.
Yay.
And we also have a little surprise for you guys watching at home. So please stay seated. But before we start, HOR 6 years.
Yeah. Wow.
How do you look back on the journey, Sister Stephanie?
Mm. It's a long road.
Mhm.
It's been a long journey,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
but looking at different content shows, the topics that we have touched, the ministers that like made the platform first,
Mm-hmm.
and then after that we joined. It's been wonderful. Yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of growth.
Mm-hmm.
Many lessons that we have learned. I can speak for myself, but I also think that even the team, but also the listeners who
Yeah.
are silently watching and following us, have heard and learned a lot.
Yeah. And especially a special shout out to Sister Florence,
Yeah.
because she has been there, I think, from the beginning. And we also
Yeah.
see her always commenting. Of course, time difference in America, it's not easy. It's not, she cannot always watch it live,
Yeah.
but we always see your comments. So really thank you for being a true follower. And we also hope that the things that we have taught and we've spoken about has impacted your life personally. So thank you. You're truly a sister to us. And I hope this also brings some joy to your heart when you hear this message. And Sister Helena, it's not always easy, having actually a radio show. And what are
No.
some of the challenges that we have experienced?
As a
Yeah,
whole
as a
team.
radio show, as a whole
radio
team.
show. Yeah. I think the switch because first it was brother Justice, brother Chris, brother Jeff.
Mm-hmm.
They are like really like I think the first year they are really like the ones who are preaching, doing
Mhm.
everything, and then we as the rest of the team we also joined
Mm-hmm.
the meetings that we had. A lot of meetings that we have discussing okay what we're going to do, the idea of the whole table talk,
Mhm.
finding new hosts, but everyone having their role
Yeah.
was it was very nice to see, and how everyone has grown like in
Mhm.
their role. Like I can speak for myself. I
Mhm.
started as the photographer of
Yeah.
HOR, and I remember like the first show I made a lot of pictures, like a lot of pictures. I was like a lot of
Oh,
pictures,
yeah.
and then I need to like filter, and maybe I'll come out of 30 or so. Whilst I made 100, but now I can
Wow.
really like choose moments. I make only like 10 a show because I
Yeah.
know the moments, and
Uh-huh.
so in that I've really grown.
You've become skilled,
Yeah.
professional. Yeah.
But I was thinking like maybe if it wasn't for HR, I maybe wouldn't know that I like to be a
Yeah.
photographer, because sometimes we think like what can we do with our talents, but so that Elohim used our gifts and
Mhm.
has brought us together for a reason.
Mhm.
So that also made me realize that don't take these little things for granted.
Yeah.
So
True.
yeah.
True.
Yeah.
In your working for Elohim, you have
Yeah.
developed your own personal talents. So,
Yeah.
that's really wonderful to see. And thank you for your services, true veterans sitting here.
From the
You
beginning.
too.
From the beginning.
Instagram
From
team.
the,
Instagram team.
yeah. From the beginning. So really, I pray that Elohim may remember your works as well. And some people, of course, they see different faces each and every week, also on Instagram Live. So Stephanie, could you maybe shortly explain what are the different teams? Who is responsible for what in HR? What is happening in back office?
Behind the scenes.
Yeah, behind the scenes.
Oh, yeah, we have a back office team. They are responsible for the planning, when or who's supposed to be in the studio, the panel members, the hosts, the ministers who is preaching the word. And then we have the social media team. We provide content online. We do the announcements, making sure that people are aware of the topics and the themes that will be discussed in the specific weeks. And we have the host team, of course. They are hosting or organizing the shows. The technical team, as it says, they are behind us.
Literally.
Yes, managing, like, those technical things.
Yeah.
And that's it, actually. And then the ministers, the group ministers, Minister Jeff, Minister Chris, and Minister Justice, they deliver the spiritual food for us.
This daily bread.
Yes.
Yeah. Also, special shout out to the ministers. We really appreciate the works, and same as with everyone who's working behind the scenes. That really that Elohim may remember these works before Him. And I just want to thank you guys also for joining. Not only now talking about HRS 6 years anniversary, also Isaiah being here each and every week. It's not easy. And now we're then moving on to a small surprise for those who are listening, who are watching, who have watched the shows maybe for 6 years. I hope you will enjoy this and also see the journey that we have gone through. So yes, watch and enjoy.
Hear the cry of the altar of Yahweh.
To do what? To turn them. That is the duty of the prophet. To turn them, not to tell you that you are going to marry, but to draw you back onto Elohim. To draw you back onto the path of righteousness.
And his body shall be decomposed to the ground from whence it came. The soul shall stand in judgment, because the soul is you.
The Bible says in the book of Ecclesiastes that a three-folded cord, it is not easily broken.
Hear the cry of the shofar of Yahweh. Hear the cry of the shofar of Yahweh. Take over, you take over. South Africa, Nigeria, singing Kenako. 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 The cry of the worship of Africa. Hear the cry of the worship of Africa. Take over, you are Jehovah. Take over, you are Jehovah. Hear the cry of the shofar of Yahweh. Hear the cry of the shofar of Yahweh. Take over, you are Jehovah. Take over, you are Jehovah. South Africa, Nigeria, sing.
Yes, and that was our 6-year anniversary recap, throwback, whatever you want to call it. And it's beautiful to see how everyone has started, how everyone started so young. And it's inspiring also to see young people really trying to seek the truth and laboring for Elohim. And viewers, listeners, let us know what are the things that you have done for Elohim. I pray also that this will motivate you in your own life. And it has not been easy. A lot of challenges, whether it be technical things, whether it be the people. There are not always enough people, for example, but we really try to deliver each and every week. So thank you, really thank you for tuning in, because we also do it to help you guys, to help you in your spiritual walk. And your journeys also help us. Your journeys also sharpen us and also motivate us. So really, really try to take in the word, the messages. May it change your life. You know, this is not a popularity contest. We don't do it to gain followers or something else. We really want people to change their lives and live righteously before Elohim. So also thank you to everyone who's listening right now, everyone who's watching the shows, those who are joining us also in our Instagram live and have joined us. Thank you, really a special thanks to you. And of course, all praise unto Yahuwah Elohim, for he has made it possible. You know, the messages that we share are not things that you hear that often, and we have a space to share that, to broadcast that over the entire world. So really a shout out to Royals as well. Thank you for helping us. Also to Slim, who's also helping us behind the scenes. Yeah. Your effort is really appreciated. And to go on about HOR 6 years already. I have a question to my sister Helena.
Yes.
And where do you see HOR in the future?
Yeah, in the future, we've grown a lot, but I think we'll be big. We'll be big. Going into how do you say it?
International.
No, but the way the messages are going is like there are still a lot of things that need to be how do you say it? How do you zeg je dat?
What do you want to say? Can I say it in Dutch?
Hoe moet ik het zeggen? Er is gewoon nog zoveel meer te vertellen, te horen ook. And I think we will continue until Elohim says like it's enough. So I think we will be on air for a long time. And yeah,
we're going places. No, but
yeah, the
really
right
hope,
places.
You know, and continuously improving the things that we use, the materials. Maybe the studios also, maybe also going to be blessed because they helped us. May Elohim therefore also help them. You don't know what will happen to the studio and the people helping us. So I think we'll continue to improve. And the messages, you also often hear the ministers say, they have almost discussed or touched every topic, and even when they continue to speak about it, there are new revelations. So really take that along with you. And of course, today we're going to talk about dressing, and then women. This is not a topic that a lot of women like to hear, and maybe you can share something very small about dressing. How has that impacted you? Is that something that changed in your life, Sister Stephanie?
Yeah, a good question. Thank you. I was thinking about the conversation I had with my sister not long ago. It was actually the first time that I discussed how I started to change my my dressing and why. And I was open like how it started, and I received dreams. And in that moment that I was talking to her, I was also like grateful that I was able to receive something from the Most High directly.
Yeah.
And it was not something that I joked about, and I didn't want to offend him. So by changing my dressing and obeying the instruction that I received, I am happy that I made a decision. It was not an easy one, because along the way I got mocked by my mother and other people, and it hurts. It hurts that all of a sudden, because I decided to change, because I want to obey the Most High and don't want to be an offense to anybody, now people are looking at me strange. And sometimes in their looks that they give me, or the way they look at me, I know that they think a lot of things, but it doesn't come out.
Exactly.
So it's sometimes I am so sad from within and bitter. Like, why are you like this? Did I force
Exactly.
you? I did it for myself first.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
why are you treating me this way?
Exactly.
So the thing that I did for myself, I hope also that by sharing these small stories and personal experiences that
Mhm.
it can also like trigger something in somebody else to
Yeah.
research something about it or read or pray or
Mhm.
ask some questions about like why is it important to cover up, for instance.
Yeah.
So yeah, it
You
was a long
see,
journey and it doesn't
yeah.
stop.
Yeah.
No.
It doesn't
Very
stop.
well done
Mhm.
as well.
Yeah.
And enduring also in those times. It's not easy, especially we being women, things about our appearance and stuff being said, you're ugly or granny like, or why do you always wear this or that? Or we also said, for example, a lot of people are compared to Muslim. Are you Muslim? And
Yeah,
those
yeah.
kind of stuff. And that is not at all why we do it. And I think that also was a process. Was it something for you that changed instantly? Did you change everything or
Yeah.
you went with steps?
No.
It's drastic.
No,
Yeah,
because the
swift
way I
obedience. Yeah,
experienced
yeah,
it was like, whoa, not once, but was literally every day, I think for 2 weeks straight.
yeah. Wow.
I was like, why? Because I
Mhm.
never asked of it. I just received it. So
Mhm.
then it must mean something. So I decided to change immediately. The extreme way also, because I didn't involve anybody. I just did it. And I never fell back. But in the journey, I also noticed, as I look back right now or think about it, is that it was not always modest.
Yeah.
Sometimes the materials was not right,
Yeah.
or the length is not okay. Yeah, you have to dress according to your shape. So you can say it is still a skirt, but the skirt is not a skirt for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is still. Yeah, how do I say it?
Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Slim fitting.
Yeah, it's not
Yeah,
easy.
we've
Yeah.
really been
Yeah.
through it. And Helena, how was it for you?
Yeah, for me it was also I also had a dream
Mm-hmm.
of like it started at the Bible studies. We had studies about modesty and stuff, and then I also had a dream about a modest apparel. But for me, yeah, it was very hard because I was very young at that time.
Yeah.
I think 15, 16.
Yeah.
I just started ROC, you know. I just started like wearing like fashion clothes, and then I heard the message. I was like, wow.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, I need to like really need to change my clothes. And at that time also did a big job. So I like
Hey,
everything
you had the
just
teeny
drastically
Yeah.
it just changed. No, it was really not easy because I was such a young person. I was like, wow, am I really going to do this? You know,
Yeah.
I was like, at the point I was like, okay, maybe I can just wait. Elohim, please have compassion. I'm a young girl, you know, you know. But no,
No time.
but no. And then I just yeah. So the just also I just started to change my clothing because I was someone I didn't like skirts at all. I was not very
Yeah.
a lady person,
Girly girl, yeah.
girly, not at all. So at first, like, okay, what are the things that I need to change? So I just started to buy some clothes on the skirts and dresses on the internet. And for people, it was strange because, like I said, I didn't wear skirts like at all. I was really jeans person, always wearing trousers because I just was comfortable with it.
Yeah.
And then I also did a big job, so that was also something.
That was hard, eh? For
Yeah,
a lot of
yeah,
people.
yeah,
my
a lot of
days.
people. And so the combination of it, you know, was echt was all challenging.
Yeah.
And like Stephanie said, yeah, during also like all these years, you will also discover like, okay, certain clothes, it's not per se, yeah, you wear a skirt, so oh yeah, it's okay.
Yeah.
But also you need to look like the length, but also before you get out of the house, it's like you need to ask yourself like if Elohim will see me today, is it like good or not? But it's also easy to put your own, when it comes to clothing, your own preferences.
Yeah.
And it's not
Yeah.
always bad or something, but at a certain point you can also like clothe yourself knowing that you may get compliments. Oh yeah, ik zie je wel echt top.
Ja, is het een
It's
fris?
oh yeah, really like feeling myself today. And it's not bad what I say, because it's not. Het is ook niet de bedoeling dat je ook erbij loopt like.
Unkept.
Yeah, unkept
mobbo.
mobbo. Yeah, it's just, what's mobbo? Sad. It's not. Yeah, Ellen doesn't want us to be sad.
Yeah.
Always grieving.
Always grieving.
Yeah, in mourning.
Yeah.
Sackcloth.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I can remember that I had a period of time that I had that. I was like very dressing boring, sad. I was just like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm just going to wear that and that's it. But like modesty has it's not your dressing alone. Yeah, it's
your
also your inner, your behavior, but also what Elohim means to you, because you can change your clothing, but if you don't serve Elohim, if you don't
Change, yeah.
search him up, the clothing, it doesn't mean anything, you know. So it's the combination of that, and that also made me make the switch to like, okay, Helena, you can just like, it's not something you need to grieve about. So just like dress the way that you can be a representative of the Most High. But also that it took time, or like it's like I think for 6 years now. That I've also changed, but during the process is also
you fall, you get up.
You fall,
you get up.
you get
you have
up.
to find your way.
Yeah, you have to find your
what
way.
you like.
And also my parents not understanding why I change my clothes, especially my father.
So funny, like when you would clothe normally, then they don't make comments, don't say anything. As soon as they see switch, why are you wearing this? Like a lot of people get persecutions. Also, when I look at sisters, maybe online.
Yeah, online also.
Really get persecution from the people around them, and especially what you said. You see people. They look at you and you know what they're thinking, but they're not saying it. Some people, they scan you up and down, and then you're like, do you want to say anything? You know?
But I also had people like in our neighborhood. There was one woman. Was always like, me and my sister were every day together, like, and I was like, she talked to our mother like, wow, your daughters are always wearing skirts and dressing, and it's very beautiful, very inspiring. So we also had people like coming to my parents being encouraging for keep on going. So that was always like that was also a confirmation, like, okay, we're doing something good.
It's also fine to
also
get that motivation. And I think of my own journey, like when I think about everything. Oh my goodness. Like, of course, I also had a sister who first was into the truth and those kinds of stuff. So I saw it changing. And for me, it was like, bro, why are you wearing skirts and stuff like that? And sometimes we'll get the question, does this look nice? And I would be blunt. I would be, no, this combination, it doesn't really work. And then for myself, when I started the journey, I would say that for me, clothing is not necessarily something that I really take pride in, or for me it can become an idol, not that much. But for me, I think it went gradually as well. I think in the beginning I first went more towards, you want to go to the extreme, so also more black and dark colors, and maybe the fabrics and stuff is a little bit, a bit granny. And then afterwards, I could find I found my own style and everything in that. Now, for me, I think also with the hair, didn't really have that much issue. I think maybe more makeup. I wouldn't say I'm like someone that put on a lot of makeup. But I remember there was a time that you guys all know, my face was not in the best condition. I had so many spots and everything. And I remember in that time, I really, really, want to put something on your face to cover up. No.
Okay.
No. I really went through all of it barefaced. So I'm really happy that I didn't fall back. And even that was something I did do drastically. I remember reading the story of Jezebel. And when Yehu came and she bound her head, and she put on makeup. And when I read that, I was like, no. I don't want to be associated with someone like Jezebel.
Yeah.
And that's really also the last day that I, for example, wore makeup. And I've never like put it on after that. So it's good to see, good to hear everyone's story, everyone's journey. And I'm also interested in what the minister is going to say about this topic. So once again, girls, thank you very much for sharing your experience.
Thank you.
And your work and effort. So also thank you, listeners, for joining us for this segment. In a few minutes, we will dive into the preaching, but in the meanwhile, enjoy this song.
Elongolisoni nanga opangusi mayami soganye lelo motema nangai olingono na koyemba elongolisoni nanga okausi mayami so oganye lelo motema bolingongo olingono na koyemba elongolisoni opangusi oganye olingono akoyemba soni nangai oganye olingono yo Yesu na ai opangusi mayamiso oganye nabenga yo Yesu heritage ya bana na ngai kombo ya kotike na bana tana kufi nabenga yo lisusu fufu ya bana na ngai atana ke koluka na ville en réalité onde motoki na toki Yesu olingono na koyemba nazana bakima ebele bolingo na yo na beti sete bolingono na koyembe Yesu oganye bolingo na yo elongolisoni na ngai awe tikanga na loba nayembango tikanga na loba nayembango yawe tikanga na kanga nayemba bolingongo na sembo tikanga na futa nyongo na bolamu na yo tikanga na loba nayembango yawe tikanga na loba nayembango Yesu na ngai tikanga na loba nayembango bolingo na yo yawe akoyembe okausi oganye bolingo na yo yes sonya vina ngai oganye tikanga na loba nalingi yo nayembango nalingi tikanga na loba ayembango fazo ezotanga ngai euti na misisa ya nzoto etraverse nzoto na ngai ti monoko esedeo tikanga na loba ayembango tikanga na loba ayembango yawe j'ai à dire Yesu na ngai tikanga na loba nayemba ngo nafouye na vocabulaire à vie na ngai c'est ce qui me revient souvent atali na répertoire à motema yango nde ezozonga mingi Yesu kasi ndimango bongo Yesu na ngai souffrir na répéter yango azase na oyo.
We thank Elohim for yet another opportunity that He has given unto us to be able to be alive, to be able to be found amongst the living. It's not something that we ought to take for granted, but it is something to appreciate. And one of the ways that we appreciate this gift of life is by recognizing the fact that it is a gift. No one who was born ever stood up to the throne of Elohim and told him, "Hey, Mr. Elohim, I want to be born." It was not by our choice, nor was it by our power nor might, but just like a seed that is planted cannot plant itself, so also we are nothing else but the workings of the Almighty. And as we are beholding and seeing and feeling the things that are happening in our lives, we can all but bear witness to the fact that there is more between the heavens and the earth. So we cannot but give thanks unto Elohim, for we bear record that there is but one Elohim, and that besides him there is none. He stands strong and alone, and under him he has those who minister to him on the left side, and those who minister unto him on the right side. That is why we can proudly say that no good nor evil happens if it is not by Elohim. I think it is the Akans who have this sign. How do you guys call it? Is it Jin Yamye or something? Meaning it is but by Elohim. And that is our credo and our belief. So when we are up, we say we are up because of Elohim. And when we are down, we say we are down, but Elohim is still alive. So we thank him so much for today, and we are praying that the heavens will show us mercy today and will teach us something new. Because as you all know, as for topics, there are many. And ever since we started years ago until now, there is yet a day to come that we will maybe be short of words, but up until now, Elohim has shown us compassion. In that every time we stood to speak, there was at least some new insight. And for others, it may be like a repetition of sorts. But the elder in Jerusalem said, as long as I am within this tabernacle, I will not be negligent to put into remembrance the things which we have told you before. But just like it was the custom of Elohim that in sundry times, Elohim through the prophets would speak unto the people concerning the things which ought to happen. So also at sundry times, you will see Minister Justice, Brother Jeff, myself, and soon to come many others in line, speaking unto you the faith which was once delivered unto the saints, which was a common faith, which now has been unraveled and wrapped in what they call darkness. Why is it so? It is because the mystery of iniquity doth already work. And the mystery of iniquity has wrapped the glorious gospel of Elohim into this dark room, to the point where now there is this cacophony of sounds left and right. So many ministers are rising, speaking. So many prophets are rising, speaking. So many people doing signs and wonders. And if you ought to judge men by reason of their passion, then every black person would have been a prophet of Elohim. But because it is not a matter of passion alone, for the Messiah said that you will know the truth, and it is the truth that will set you free. He did not say you will know the passion or by the reason of the way you preach or the decibels in your voice or the sweating on your forehead that will deliver the people. He said you will know the truth and the truth will set you free. So this religion, if I should call it that, which you are professing, which we are professing, it is something that is based on what you know. It is what you know that can help you, and what you don't know that can kill you. Because I remember it was some weeks ago, I did send this picture to Brother Justice, and I was like, why is it that this disease is so common in Africa, but we don't see it in Europe? And it made me so angry, and I was so frustrated. But then as I was thinking and thinking and thinking, what really kills us in our continent is a lack of knowledge on so many things from a basic level. And the same as what is killing us because of a lack of knowledge on a physical level, it is the same thing that is also killing us from a spiritual perspective. That is why this religion that we are professing, it is something that involves knowledge. So that is why you will see what's his name? Apostle Cephas. He would say, and unto your faith, he will say, add. Unto your faith, add knowledge. Unto your faith, add temperance. Unto your faith, add self-control. But it starts with knowledge, because he said that because of the lack of knowledge, that is the reason why my people are destroyed. So that is why teachings are so necessary, but at the same time, teachings are so despised in many of the charismatic churches. And we, being a ministry of teachers, have something wonderful to bring to you today, which may be for some hard to swallow or understand, and for others it will be their medicine, because we will deal with something which we call dressing. We will speak about dressing, but not per se in the way that you maybe expected. Because before we do the partitioning of dressing with regards to women's dressing and dressing with regards to men's dressing, we first must deal with dressing in general. So when we are speaking of clothing or apparel or dressing, what does it usually mean? So as I was pondering on this, obviously this night, I was just thinking, and then the answers began to come. And then my attention was drawn to, I don't know if the brother APC himself even remembers. This was years ago. I was speaking to him, and then he was telling me how he was studying the life of Joseph and about the many coats and the raiments of Joseph. And he never told me the answer as to what he did find. But we also found something. So let him compare and contrast from his own home what he did find years ago and see if it will line up. Because when we are speaking about dressings in general, what do clothes represent? That is the question you must ask yourself. Because if you study the Bible carefully, you will see that Elohim puts a certain emphasis on apparel. Elohim really spends his time and he speaks of apparel. And if we are able to establish a doctrine based on, for example, our food, the things we eat, how much more a doctrine based on the clothes we wear? Because the word apparel, garment, and blessings or dressings are mentioned more than food and the things we consume and eat. So first of all, when we are speaking of dressing or clothing, you have to understand that clothes, biblically speaking, are a marker of identity. Clothes, biblically speaking, are a marker of identity. For example, you will see that the Bible oftentimes speaks of the king's robes. That king's robes, that kings are dressed in glorious apparel, showing you that the way that the kings used to dress was distinctive from the way common folks would dress. So first, give me 1 Kings 22 and 10. Read this.
1 Kings chapter 22 from verse 10.
Go ahead.
And it says, and the king of Israel and Jehoshaphat, the king of Judah,
And so the king of
Israel,
Isolele, the king of Israel, and
Jehoshaphat, the king of Judah, sat each on his throne,
and both of them sat on their thrones,
having put on their robes,
and they put on their distinctive robes,
in a void place in the entrance of the gate of Samaria.
And then give me Leviticus 8 and from 7.
Leviticus chapter 8 from verse 7. And he put upon him the coat.
And he, Moshe, commanded by Elohim, was beginning to dress the Levites. And he put upon him
the coat.
Go ahead.
And girded him with a girdle.
Go ahead.
And clothed him with the robe.
Go ahead.
And put the ephod upon him.
Go ahead.
And he girded him with the curious girdle of the ephod.
So he girded him with a curious girdle of the ephod.
And bound it unto him therewith. And he put the breastplate upon him. Also he put in the breastplate the Urim and the Thummim.
Stop. That was the priest, his distinctive clothing. We saw that of the king. Now give me 2 Samuel 13 verse 18.
2 Samuel chapter 13 starting from verse 18. And she had a garment of diverse colors upon her.
And she, the daughter of David, had
a garment of diverse colors upon her.
Had a garment of diverse colors upon her.
For with such robes were the king's daughters that were virgins apparelled.
Did the king's daughters that were virgins dress themselves? So there again you see, he's telling you a certain dressing, a certain style of clothing, and he's telling you the type of people that would wear them. That was example number 3. Continuing. Now give me the book of Proverbs chapter 7 and now verse 10.
Proverbs chapter 7, starting from verse 10.
And it says,
And behold, there met him a woman.
and behold, there met him a woman
With the attire of an harlot.
with the attire of a
Harlot.
with the attire of a
Harlot.
4. So, what are you seeing here? You are seeing that the clothing are distinctive markers. The clothing are a distinctive marker. And it marks and shows a specific identity. That is the one thing we want to establish first. And then the second thing I want to establish is this. Clothes are also a marker and an indicator of a blessing or a curse. And this is where we are starting to unravel this message. Clothes are an indicator of either blessings and curses. What do I mean? Jeremiah 6 from verse 26.
Jeremiah chapter 6 from verse 20 and 6.
Go ahead.
It says, O daughter of my people,
Oh, the descendants of my people,
gird thee with sackcloth,
gird thee with sackcloth,
and wallow thyself in ashes.
and begin to wallow yourself in
Ashes.
Go ahead.
Make thee mourning,
Begin to mourn
as for an only son.
as for an only son.
Most bitter lamentation.
Go ahead.
For the spoiler shall suddenly come upon us.
So what are you seeing here? In many of our traditions, we still have this custom. When we are dealing with the dead or grievous news has befallen us, we dress a certain way. The Hebrews, especially when calamity would befall them, or when they had been cursed and they were weeping and they were showing that they were sorrowful, they would wear dark clothing. They would put on sackcloth. And that would show that a curse or something that was a misfortune did befall them. I think the Ghanaians still have that custom very strongly. When someone is dead or when they're going to a funeral, they dress black. I think the people of Suriname have it the other way around. When they're going to a funeral, they cover themselves, but it is in white.
Yeah.
So these customs are still there. So when you see them, you're like, hey, something bad has befallen this family, because I can identify by the way that they are dressed. So clothing are a marker of blessing and curses, and they're also a mark of identity. Another thing that clothing also show. So biblically speaking, I'm giving you point number 3. To be covered or to be fully clothed is a sign of a blessing. Let me repeat. So biblically speaking, to be covered or to be fully clothed is a sign of a blessing. And in the other way around, to be uncovered or having your nakedness shown is a sign of a curse and a reproach and of shame and of judgment. These are just statements, but we will back everything up. And depending on the time, maybe then I will segue into the clothing for men Or if not, then the brother will just combine it next week. Let's see how it goes. So I said 3 things. Clothing is a mark of identity, 1. Clothing is a indication of either you will be blessed or you will be cursed, 2. And then 3, I said, biblically speaking, to be fully covered is a sign of a blessing, is a sign of an abundance. And to be naked or scantily clad is a sign of a cursing and a lacking and a shame. And I remember, this was years ago. I remember this dream years ago where I was supposed to have a rendezvous to meet with my big brother somewhere. And so I was walking up to him. And as I was walking up to him, I saw him from afar, and he was dressed beautifully in a robe. And this robe that he had on covered him from his neck all the way to his feet. So even his feet were not showing. And it was covering him from here all the way to here. And he was dressed so beautifully, and it was like a radiant of light was coming off of him. And then when I approached him, something said, now look at your own clothes. So then I looked at my clothes, and I also was dressed in a robe. However, my robe did not completely cover me until my toes. My robe, it ended at the level of my knees. So the lower part of my legs was showing. And immediately at that time, I felt the reproach. And so I awoke. And at first, I did not really understand. But as you are gradually walking, you understand certain things. It is a language. And so Elohim will speak to you in many ways. And many of the ways that he would speak as to us in the Bible, he can sometimes tell you the description of the way someone is dressing. That's why sometimes the Bible said, and behold, we saw a man, and he was dressed in a garment and a long robe. And by the way that they are describing his garment, you can say this was a prophet. So also, when the holy ones look at us, they see whether you are covered or they see whether you are naked. Spiritually speaking, when you are dreaming of having no clothes on, it means that somewhere in your life, something unbecoming is happening, and therefore you are not covered. So you are exposed to certain elements and dangers, and if you are not careful, anything can happen. So let me give you some examples, and then we will continue. Genesis 3 verse 7.
Genesis chapter 3 from verse 7.
Read.
And the eyes of them both were opened,
And then all of a sudden, their eyes were illuminated.
and they knew that they were naked.
And all of a sudden, they understood that, hey, we are naked.
And they sewed fig leaves together,
And they tried to cover their nakedness. So they sewed
fig leaves
fig
together,
leaves together,
and made themselves aprons.
and they made themselves aprons.
And they heard the voice of Yah walking in the garden.
So, this is Adam and Eve, who came from the presence of the Almighty. They came from the Almighty himself. So within them, they had this knowing and this distinction of good and evil. And immediately as their eyes were opened and they were exposed to certain things, all of a sudden they looked at themselves and they realized that, hey, we are naked. And if being naked is something that is positive, then why did they come to that conclusion? That, hey, we must cover ourselves. Why did they come to that conclusion that, hey, we must cover ourselves because we are exposed? And so they hid themselves and they began to clothe themselves. And this is Adam and Eve, the first man. You don't have a spiritual sensing higher than theirs. So when they saw that they were naked, they were like, no, it's here. Something here is not right. We must cover ourselves. And then they tried to cover themselves, but they failed. So then the Almighty had to come. Verse 21.
Genesis 3 from verse 20 and 1. And unto Adam also and to his wife did Yah Elohim make coats of skins and clothed them.
So when they put on their fig leaves to only cover their private parts only, all the other parts were still showing. And Elohim saw that this is not good. The heavens are taking offense because of the way that they are walking around. So he immediately dispatched an angel, and that angel took a ram, killed the ram, shed the blood of the ram, and then made clothing for them.
He made coats of skins and clothed them.
And he clothed them. And he clothed them, which is an indication that being naked is something that is not positive in the sight of Elohim.
That's right.
Being naked is something that is not positive, biblically speaking. And as I said that your blessings indicate your identity, and your clothing indicate your identity, and they indicate a blessing or a cursing. Exactly when they sinned, all of a sudden they realized that, hey, we are what? We are naked. But what you have to understand is before they sinned, they did not have clothes, as in what you can call physical clothes.
Yeah.
They had on glorious apparel, glorious as in righteousness was a light that covered them. But when they transgressed, Ichabod, that glory departed. So they saw that they were naked. And that nakedness indicated the calamity in which they were. And when Elohim then came and had pity on them, he clothed them and they went on their journey. That is Adam and Eve. Now, all of you know the story of the guy by the name of Joseph. The life of Joseph was a very challenging life, and the story of the life of Joseph was a very beautiful story. And we all know the synopsis of his life, but let's zoom into certain areas. What will you notice when you are studying the life of Joseph? How many times does the word apparel or robe or garment come into play in the story of Joseph?
Good question.
You will see it at least 5 to 6 times. And every time Joseph, his apparel would change, it would indicate a change in his life.
Yeah.
Every time you would see that Joseph, his clothes would change, it would indicate either a upliftment or a fall. So by looking at Joseph's clothing, you could say, hey, this man is going up, or this man is about to crash. First things first, we all know the story of Joseph and the mantle of many colors. So Genesis 37 verse 3. Do you have the, is it the blue letter that you're reading from?
No, but I have the blue letter.
Okay, so Genesis 37 verse 3. Read.
And you want it from the blue letter one?
Yeah, because other different translations give different meanings to mantle of many colors. So just give me Genesis 37 3, and then you can go to cross-reference, and then from there. So Genesis 37 verse 3.
Genesis 37 from verse 3. Now Israel loved Joseph.
Now, Israel, his father, loved Joseph.
more than all his children,
And he loved him more than all of his children.
because he was the son of his old age.
Because he was the son of his old age.
And he made him a coat of many colors.
Just like we now with Elohim. So Elohim looked at us and he was like, ye are the children of my old age. So he said that that is why sometimes he said that the glory of the second house will be greater. So he said like the children that are of this generation that will be able to withstand the trials, they'll be greater than even the prophets. Why? Because to be able to live in modern day Babylon and to be deemed a holy and a righteous person is a feat that even trumps the way the prophets of old lived. Because we are living in the midst of hell. And to be able to withstand, it is something that merits a particular love coming from Elohim. So Israel loved Joseph because he was the son of his old age. So what did he do?
And he made him a coat of many colors.
And he made him a coat of many colors. Give me different translation where it says a long robe, which I don't know where you will find it, but it's
I'll
there.
read a few of them. So the NLT says, Jacob loved Joseph more than any of his other children because Joseph has been born to him in his old age. So one day Jacob had a special gift made for Joseph, a beautiful robe.
A beautiful robe.
And then another one is, for example, the NET or the RSV, I'm sorry.
And it says?
It says, because he was the son of his old age, and he had made him a long robe with sleeves.
You see? And he made him a long robe
with sleeves.
So what happened here? You will see that when he received this robe, he obtained certain privileges that his brothers did not get. For example, when his brothers were supposed to go and tilt the flock and the sheep, he was exempted from going. He was allowed to sit with his father and remain there and chill, whilst the others were toiling, which was also one of the reasons why the brothers became jealous. The father always kept the son close. So you see that when he received this robe, he also received a particular favor that was upon him. But when you continue reading, I think like verse 18 or something, just as he's about to be sold into slavery, they took his clothes and they took it away from him. They took his robe that he received from his father. They stripped him naked.
From verse 23.
Go ahead.
And it came to pass, when Joseph was come unto his brethren, that they stripped Joseph out of his coat of many colors that was on him.
You see, they stripped him off his clothes, and immediately it indicated something, that he was moving from a higher stature to now going into difficulties because he was now naked. And his clothes identified and it signified a change in his life. That is one. The second time you will see it happening again is now as he moved from a lower state, from a high state to a lower state, he would find himself in the house of Potiphar. And in the house of Potiphar, though he was abased to a servant, he still had on some clothing, which he received from Potiphar. But lo and behold, give me verse 11 of Genesis 39.
Genesis 39 from verse 11.
So as he went into the house of Potiphar, he was going through difficulties. He came in naked. Slowly, the favor of Elohim was shown in his life. Potiphar made him the overseer of his house. So he also gave him clothing. So Elohim gave him a bit of reprieve. But lo and behold, something would happen to his clothing again.
Genesis 39 verse 11.
And
it came to pass about this time that Joseph went into the house to do his business, and there was none of the men of the house there within. And she caught him by his garment, saying, lie with me.
She caught him by his garment and said, lie
with me.
Go ahead.
And he left his garment in her hand and fled and got him out.
And he left his garment in her hand, so he stripped himself to flee for his life. And the garment remained in her hand. So once again, he was what? Stripped. He was naked. And what was the next thing that happened?
And it came to pass.
No. So that, because of time, of course. So the next thing that happened was that he was now moved from Potiphar's house into a jail and a prison. So you see, the stripping of clothing, and once again, a calamity. And then, the final act of Joseph that we will read, to show you the parallels of clothing and the abasement and the upliftment of a person, is in Genesis 41, verse 40 and 2. Read.
Genesis 41 from verse 40 and 2. And Pharaoh took off his ring from his hand.
So, Joseph being in a prison, the favor of Elohim was once again upon him. He was able to do some things which baffled the mind of the Pharaoh. And as the Pharaoh saw it and acknowledged the gift of Joseph, he now wanted to uplift him once again. So what did he do? He took off his ring
from his hand and put it upon Joseph's hand and arrayed him in vestures of fine linen.
And he arrayed him once again now in vestures of
fine linen and put a gold chain about his neck.
And he put a gold chain about his neck.
And he made him to ride in the second chariot which he had.
And he made him to ride in the second chariot.
And they cried before him, bow the knee.
Bow the
knee.
To who?
To Joseph.
You see?
And he made him ruler over all the land of Egypt.
What indicated his rulership? He put on new apparel. To once again tell you that when the Bible is mentioning these things, it is not doing that just to entertain you. It is trying to bring a message across. It is trying to tell you something. Give me that verse in the book of the Prophets where it says, woe, and he will punish those that put on strange apparel.
In the book of Zephaniah chapter 1.
So now, having told you that, let's open up another door. Yeah? Zephaniah
chapter 1 from verse 8.
Having told you all these things, clothes signifies an identity. Clothes signifies a blessing or a curse coming your way. Clothes signifies a shame. Now let us make a distinction between all these clothes so that you may know who you are, so that you may know what your type of dressing says about you, and so that you may know whether you are walking in a blessing or that you are setting yourself up for an incoming curse. Because everything we do in life will always result in one or the other. Either you are walking towards a blessing and you are setting yourself up for a blessing, or you are walking towards a curse and you are setting yourself up for failure. There is no in between. Everything you do will bring the other or will bring the one or the other. So Zephaniah
1 starting from verse 7. Hold thy peace at the presence of Elohim. For the day of Yah is at hand. For Yah had prepared a sacrifice. He had bid his guest.
For the day of the Almighty is at hand. Elohim has prepared a sacrifice and he did bid his
guest.
It is the same story you read in the book of Matthew.
Exactly.
But because people hate the old and they like the new, that's why they will never understand that symbolic speaking in the book of Matthew. He's referring to this verse. The day of judgment will come. And the Almighty had bid his guest. He had said, come as you are. It is true, Elohim calls you to come as you are, but he never expects you to remain like that.
Yeah.
He will accept you to come as you are, but he will never accept you to remain like that. So when you are making statements that no, Elohim only judges the heart, but he doesn't judge the outer man. As he said unto, what is his name? Samuel. You did not understand that statement. You did not understand that statement. That statement that he said had to do with Elohim is not a respecter of person. Samuel, when he saw the other brothers of David, He saw that they were tall, strong, heavy shoulders. So he presumed that they must be the ones that will become king.
Yeah.
Because David, though he was handsome, he was not that big of a man. So Elohim said, no, do not judge based on the outer appearance. For I, Elohim, am not a respecter of person. That is what he meant in that context. But trust me, on the day of judgment, Elohim will look at the outer appearance. The book of Zephaniah.
Zephaniah 1, continuing from verse 8. And it shall come to pass.
And it will so happen.
In the day of Yah's sacrifice.
In the day of his sacrifice.
That I will punish.
The day of judgment simply means the day of sacrifice. Because he has promised that he will barbecue human beings. He said it. Go ahead.
And it shall come to pass in the day of Yah's sacrifice that I will punish the princes.
Listen. I will punish the princes.
And the king's children.
And the king's children.
And all such.
You don't understand the language. When he's speaking of the princes and the king's children, he's not speaking of the world. Because he's the king of kings. So guess what that makes his children?
The king's children.
You see, everything he's saying here, it has to do with the house of Israel. Elohim does not speak of other nations if it is not for judgments only. When he's speaking about princes, he's speaking about his people, those who ought to know better. You see, so he said, I will punish the
princes and the king's children and all such as are clothed with strange apparel.
Now, what is a strange apparel? That is the question. What is a strange apparel? That is something you must know. Because sometimes the heavens are looking at you and they are bewildered. They're like, what is happening? Have you ever seen a picture of, what's the name of the princess of this country? Princess Amalia and all of them. Have you ever seen a picture of them wearing shorts? Have you ever seen it?
Nope.
Have you ever seen a picture of them wearing tight things that you can see their breasts hanging out?
No.
Have you ever seen Koning Willem-Alexander, even when he was a prince in his days, wearing some skinny jeans and ripped pants? Have you ever seen that before? You have never. And so the Messiah said, does not nature
teach you anything?
Because what is a strange apparel to Elohim? What is a strange apparel to the Almighty? Give me. So he's speaking about judgment, right? Let me show you what he will judge. The book of Isaiah. Isaiah 47 from verse 1.
Isaiah chapter 40 and 7, starting from verse 1.
In line with judgment and strange apparel. Isaiah 47 verse 1.
Come down
and
sit in the dust,
and begin to sit in the dust,
O virgin daughter of Babylon.
Ye Babylonians,
sit on the ground,
sit down.
There is no throne,
for I have taken away your self-imposed thrones.
O daughter of the Chaldeans,
ye westernized folks.
For thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate.
For ye will henceforth no more be called tender
and delicate. Take the millstones, and grind meal. Uncover thy locks.
Listen. Uncover
thy
your
locks.
hair.
Make bare the legs.
Uncover your hair. In certain conditions, when a woman's hair is uncovered, it is unbecoming.
Yeah.
In certain situations, when your locks, I'm not speaking about your weave, Brazilian, Peruvian, Mongolian, or horse weave. I'm speaking of your locks. Naturally speaking, in certain conditions, when your locks are showing, it is unbecoming. That is why it is commanded that what? When it comes to the services of Yah, whenever a female prophesies or prays, please make sure that because of the powers, meaning the angels, your head is covered. Is covered. And if that covering of the head in Corinthians is speaking of your hair as a natural covering, then this verse would never exist.
Yeah.
Uncover your
locks.
But if you don't read the old, you will mess up. How can you read a summary and try to explain doctrine? New Testament is a summary, a quick fix.
Quick fix.
For the scattered ones. But the in-house ones need the old because it will explain things. It's like you guys are coming at my house. You are visiting me. I have a short amount of time to entertain you guys. But with my own children, we have more than enough time. You see? Go ahead.
Uncover thy locks in verse 2. Make bare the leg.
Listen. Make bare the
leg.
Make bare the
leg.
Go ahead.
And uncover the thigh.
And uncover the
thigh. Pass over the rivers.
Pass over the
rivers. Thy nakedness shall be uncovered.
So to the holy ones, when they look at you, men or women, when they look at you in general, and your legs are showing to the point where it is from the knee upwards. It doesn't matter if you have on Versace, Dolce Gabbana, or even if you have on this Gileba. If it is not lower than to the point of your knees, to the watchers, you are
thy nakedness shall be uncovered.
You are naked. So all these women, men, when they put on these, I rated it me at 8. This crazy Cristiano Ronaldo guy, he came with this new fashion. The shorts are
questionable.
And then they're walking with a man purse, and then they're like,
Hey.
So the holy ones are observing. And if your clothing is above your knees, it doesn't matter what you have on. To them, you are naked. So then I was brought to that dream of mine, and then I looked, and then I understood the reproach. You are trying, but hey, amigo, the robe is fine, but the legs are showing.
Yeah.
The robe is fine, but the legs are showing. So you are doing your best, but the work is not yet complete. So a strange apparel to Elohim is whenever the holy ones are seeing your nakedness, it is a sign of a reproach. So when you are coming in front of Elohim spiritually, he's looking at you and he is seeing your legs, it means you are not yet perfected. So your clothing are unbecoming. That is a strange apparel. Give me Jeremiah 13, verse 26.
Jeremiah chapter 13 from verse 26. Therefore will I discover thy skirts.
Listen. Therefore now, this is another point of judgment. I will discover your
skirts.
Go ahead.
Upon thy face.
Upon your face.
That thy shame may appear.
That your
shame may appear.
That your
shame may appear.
So Elohim is saying, whenever he can discover your shirt, your skirts, wearing these short things, spiritually speaking, when you are dressed like that, it is shameful. So all the holy ones, when you are dressed like that, they hide their face. So if they hide their face, how do you think they will minister to you? I'm sorry. How do you think they will minister? So how do you think they will minister to you? If they have to run from you, how do you think they will minister to you? So every time that you are scantily clad, you have on short things, your nakedness is showing, your arms, your breastises, your buttocks, your legs. Every time these things are showing, be you men, female, whatever, it is shameful. And to Elohim, that is a sign of a strange apparel. Yes? So then, 10 minutes, I think I can still touch something on the women, and maybe the brother will finish. Let's see, I don't know. So Proverbs 7 and 10.
Proverbs chapter 7.
And there met him,
starting from verse 10. And behold, there met him a woman with the attire of an harlot.
So brothers and sisters, I'm trying to bring it as low and as humbly as possible to make you understand that this is not a condemnation of any sorts. It is explaining what the Bible means so that you can draw your own conclusion. Whether you dress decently or you dress indecently, it does not add or diminish anything from me. But we are obliged to tell you these things so that you may reconsider what they are maybe not telling you in your places of worship, how you ought to dress. So he said, and there met him a woman with the attire
of an harlot.
So begin to ask yourself, just use your common brain and sense. How do harlots dress?
Short, revealing.
How do harlots dress? What is the end game to a harlot? She dresses in a way that will do what?
Seduce.
That will seduce. So when ye sisters are dressing, and then before you finish and you want to go outside, you turn around and you have to check like this. Are you checking to see whether your clothes are seductive and to wear something loose? Or are you then checking to see whether your clothes are tight? And then some in their hearts, when they see their clothing is too loose, they're like, no, I'm not a grandma. I'm young and people must know that I'm fit. And then there are others that are like, no, today I must slay. So they call themselves slay queens. You are going outside and you have already told yourself, today at this party or at this gathering or whatever, I will slay the souls of men. And you guys know I'm not lying, because I'm not the inventor of the term slay queen. I just happened to live and I found it. And I'm just pointing out the fact that there are some slay queens walking around, and they are going in the church. Some of them sing, some of them preach, some of them interpret, some of them minister in the church. But before they did that, at their homes, they checked their behind. And some even made pictures. And then they came to the church.
To slay the souls that should not die.
So I'm just asking you, sisters, without any sense of judgment, I'm just let's speak like human beings and not like animals. What are you doing? And especially, why are you doing that? What is wrong with your heart? Because how evil and how wicked and how who has done this to you? Why do you hate us men so much that you want to dominate our spirits by reason of enticing us? Because this is the same thing that Reuben, our father, said. He said, yea, deceptive. He used another word, but let me use something else. He said, deceptive are women, seeing that they lack the physical strength to force men. They use deceptive means. What does a deceptive mean? So if a woman wants to catch you, she cannot physically pull you over, but she can mentally pull you over. She will put perfume, she will deck herself, paint herself, wear tight things, and then she will just so happen to be accidentally but on purpose walk around where you are, and then she will be mincing about with the heels and stuff, the tight things and stuff, and she's walking. And usually we used to speak about Deuteronomy 22:5, that women ought not to wear pants, but we are past that now, because now even with their skirts, they are doing worse. And walking around, straddling about, and then the Negro is there, and he's surviving, man. He's surviving.
He's hypnotized.
He's surviving, and all of a sudden he sees this. And before you know, he has forgotten where he came from. And then the Messiah said, it is impossible, but that offense must come. But woe unto him or her by whom the offense comes. He then says it would have been a better fate if you had a stone wrapped around your neck and if you were cast into the sea to drown and die, than to you be the one who had caused the offense. Because the Messiah said that it has been said of old, men will not commit adultery, but whosoever will look at a woman and lust has committed adultery already. That is just one side of the story. But what will happen? But if it is already a woe and a judgment to the person who looks, it was not his intention, but he was surviving in the wilderness, and you had indecent clothing on and you seduced him. Now ask yourself, if Elohim is called a righteous judge and he will judge that man for looking at you and lusting, whilst it was not even his intention, but he fell into a trap, what do you think he will do to you? Because you are the one who look in the mirror. Even in the court system, there is something that we call, what is it? It's called you have a crime of passion, and you have a crime of voorbedachte reden, which means premeditated. For example, let's say you are married, you come from work, you are tired, you come in your house, and you see your wife jumping and somersaulting on your neighbor.
Hey.
You can grow mad, and you can just take a knife and you can stab them both. The judge will bring you to court, but they will call it a crime of passion, because emotions just took over and you flipped.
The heat of the moment.
So they can reduce the sentence a little. But if you, the husband, have been planning for months, I have to kill this woman, I have to kill her. You wrote down a plan, and then you committed the act. your judgment will be severe because you had the time to really meditate upon it. You were fully aware of what you were doing.
Plan van aanpak.
So, brothers and sisters, for the sake of our souls, there is a certain way of dressing which Elohim requires of us. For men and women, the brother will go into it more next time. He will talk about men and women because the foundation is, I think, already laid. But ask yourself, when the heavens look at you and the way you are dressed, do they classify you as kings? Do they classify you as priests? Do they classify you as children of Elohim? Or do they classify you as daughters and sons of Belial? Because every person and every identity comes with a certain attire. When the heavens look at you, do they say, behold, you have on the robe of the virgins of Zion, as we just read? Or do they say, and behold, we saw one dressed with the attire of a harlot? Will the heavens say that you are not allowed to enter because you are dressed in strange apparel? Will the heavens say to you that you are naked and your shame is being shown? Or will the heavens say unto you that you have on a long robe and you are fully covered, and therefore you are a righteous person? Begin to ask yourself these things. Begin to ask yourself these things. Begin to ask yourself these things. And then to conclude, there is another thing, because what you will see when you are dealing with a subject so sensitive, I just gave you the example of the extremes, but with everything that has to do with Elohim, what makes a difference is not the extreme, it is the nuance. And the nuance with Elohim has to do with the condition and the state of your own heart. That is the biggest indicator when it comes to this walk. It is that condition of your heart. When I think they were speaking about the subject of modest, I can put on something to me and it is fine.
Yeah.
And you put it on and it is a sin. But they are both the same style. The question is, what do you tell yourself when you put it on?
Yes.
Are you putting it on? And then in your mind, you're like, I will impress the world today. I have to show everyone how fit I am today, how beautiful I am today, how rich I am today, how fine I am today. Or are you putting it on? You're like, Elohim, thank you for how you made me. I put this on not to cause any offense. I like it, and in my mind, nothing is troubling me like, hey, kapsoudness or hoogmoed. Then you know you are fine and you can walk. But there are certain people, when they put on a certain attire, their brain is infected.
Yep.
All of a sudden, they walk as if they own the world. If you have a piece of clothing that causes you to behave differently, even if it is not causing people to lust after you, it is bringing about pride in your heart, that piece of clothing, to you, it is not modest.
Yeah, true.
And this is the nuance. You make 1,500 euros a month, for example. you have bills to pay and whatever. And then you go outside, you go to a shop and you buy a shoe, a jacket of 500, 700 euros. And you are telling me I am dressed modestly. You are challenged somewhere. So that also is part of modesty. Your pocket will determine whether you are modest or not.
Temperance.
You see, all these things work hand in hand. And the crazy thing is, the watchers, they see these things, all of these things. All of these things. And depending on what level you are with them, they will continue to teach you. Hey, dit, do maar niet. This one, do maar niet. Until the point where you will see, you become a simple person. That is their hope and their dream. They want you to be a simple person. So one of the key indicators of a righteous person, you see simplicity all over, which is a challenge to many of us. You have on a skirt, fine, but you have a hat like this, then you have glasses like this, your shoe is red, your garment, your jacket is yellow, you have headlights behind you. So it is so druk. So when you walk into a room, it draws all of the attention. Why do you want everyone to look at you for? Because it feeds your what? Ego.
Mm-hmm.
So you can even wear a long skirt from here to your bedroom. And the color is red. And you're walking outside. I don't know. I don't know. So sometimes even, I remember I had this hat I bought. It was a red hat. Sometimes I would just wear it and I'm just walking around. And then one day, I was full. So I wanted to put on the hat and I wanted to go outside. And I was like, Ma, what entered me to go to a shop and buy a red hat? And ever since now, the hat is somewhere. So these are nuances that you yourself have to contend with. Because especially when it comes to these things like dressings and stuff, they are the basic minimum. But then when you want to grow and stuff, you will see that there will be some things that will be self-imposed for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
So think about these things for yourself. And check whether you are still in the faith with regards to your dressing. And just understand that dressings symbolize blessings and curses. And I will leave you with this final word of encouragement. That if you want to prosper, please, brothers, and please, sisters, if you do not want to call curses upon yourself, but you really want to prosper, make sure that you don't show your nakedness. Try to always be covered. Do not show your nakedness. Try to always be covered. There is a very special blessing and a reward to those who do so. There is a special reward to those who do so. Try to always be covered. So may Elohim remember us, and up until the final verse, Adike. Revelation 3:18.
In the book of Revelations, chapter 3, starting from verse 18, and it says, I counsel thee.
Listen, this is Elohim's counsel. I advise you
to buy of me gold,
to please buy of me gold,
tried in the fire,
which is tried in the fire,
that thou mayest be rich,
that you may be rich,
and white raiment,
and put on white raiment,
that thou may be clothed.
You see, so that you may be properly
clothed,
dressed.
And that the shame of thy nakedness,
so that the shame of your
nakedness
will not
appear.
So there is a blessing of gold. There is a blessing of prosperity to those who know how to clothe themselves. To those who know how to clothe themselves. To those who know how to clothe themselves. So when you will sit down and you will look, who are the most decently clothed people in this world?
The Muslims.
The people that are in dignity, but indeed also the Muslims, and it's not just only the Muslims, but also these Orthodox Jews.
Yeah.
Have you seen the wife of an Orthodox Jew before? They put on no pants. They cover their heads, especially going outside and stuff.
Yeah.
And look at the Jews and look at the Muslims. So in the day of judgment, Elohim will especially use the Muslim women, and he will raise them up, and he will show them to the daughters of Zion and say, why would one who worships Allah be dressed more honorable than ye, my sons and my daughters? So you see them prospering, though they live in deserts. You see them prospering, but we that live on the continent of milk and honey are broke. Who is the most scantily clad of all the people in the world? If you can identify them by race, wouldn't it be us, the blacks? Look at how they project us on TV. Look at how we dress in the streets. We the men have our pants hanging as if we are homosexuals. We put on white beaters to show our muscles. Our women have on short pants or hot pants, breastises sticking out, behind sticking out, the breast and the thigh. So it's a walking Kentucky Fried Chicken buffet. That is why, can't you see how we are cursed? Because the heavens look, they want to bless, and they're like, whoa, sorry, you are naked. We cannot bless you. So these are things. Think about these things. It may sound as if it doesn't matter, but it does. So may Elohim keep us, and the brother will finish next time. Thank you so much. Shalom.
Once again, we thank Elohim for the message that was just shared. Thank you very much, Minister. I have to personally say that I was pricked in the heart. There's always room for improvement. but I think that a lot of people that listened to the message today took something out of it. I saw a comment of a sister, Lisa Ulrich, saying, "All praises to the Most High. This is an amazing lesson. I really needed this perfect timing." We really hope that the message of today will help you further, maybe for what you were looking for. And also at home, each and every one, women, men. Next week, we will deal more with the men, but especially to our fellow sisters all over the world, that we take heed to these things. Elohim may communicate to you through dreams, sometimes through messages, and also in community and sharing your experiences and stories with each other. It's not easy. None of us has said that it would be easy, but if you want to do something for Elohim with the whole your heart, you will make a way out of it. Know that we also have other messages concerning dressing, modesty in previous seasons. We have discussed it many, many times. So know that you can re-listen this on either SoundCloud and also on YouTube. Next week we will dive into dressing, and then we'll focus a little bit more on men. So keep an eye on our social media to find out what it will be about. This was the Hour of Restoration, restoring broken walls. And today we will not end with our usual song, but we want to play once again our journey so far, that it may motivate you and help you as well. Thank you for listening. See you next week.
Hear the cry of the altar of Yahweh.
To do what? To turn them. What is the duty of the prophet? To turn them, not to tell you that you are going to marry, but to draw you back unto Elohim, to draw you back onto the path of righteousness.
And his body shall be decomposed to the ground from whence it came. The soul shall stand in judgment, because the soul is you.
The Bible says in the book of Ecclesiastes that a three-folded cord, it is not easily broken.
Hear the cry of the shofar of Yahweh. Hear the cry of the shofar of Yahweh. Take over, you. Take over. South Africa, Nigeria, singing. South Africa, Nigeria, singing. South Africa, Nigeria, singing.